Hey guys, welcome back to Your Mindset, Your Power. Have you ever looked at someone going through an incredibly difficult time and wondered, how are they doing it? How are they still moving forward? How do they keep believing tomorrow can be better when today feels so uncertain? And then maybe you have looked at your own life, at something you have been wanting to do, but you have been avoiding it. Maybe a dream you have been putting off, or a fear you have been carrying for far too long. And then you wondered, why do I keep getting stuck? Why do I keep going back to the same doubts? Why do I know what I want, but still struggle to take action? I think every single one of us have asked those questions at some point, right? I know I have. And over the years, through my own experiences, through coaching, through learning, and having conversations with so many people, I've come to realize something. When life gets hard, it's usually not the event itself that determines the direction of our lives. It's how we respond to it, my friend. So today, I want us to explore something I think all of us have experienced at some point. Why does fear make some people stop while others keep moving anyway? So let's talk about it. Because if you really stop and think about it, we have all seen examples of it. Two people can lose their jobs. One immediately thinks, I figured it out. There has to be another opportunity. And the other thinks, my career is over. Or two people can stand in front of the exact same opportunity. One says, I'm nervous, but I'm going for it. I'm going to try. And the other says, I'm probably not good enough. And the reality is, the situation isn't always what makes the biggest difference. It's the meaning we give it. And that raises another important question. Where does that meaning really come from? The reality is, none of us came into this world believing we were not good enough, right? None of us were born thinking, I'm going to fail, people won't like me, I'm not capable. No, those ideas were learned over time. Sometimes they begin in the environment we grew up in. If money was always a source of stress, you may have learned to see the world through a lens of scarcity. Or maybe if the people around you reacted to every problem with fear, worry, or catastrophizing, you may have learned to expect the worst before anything has even happened. Or if you learn that keeping everyone else happy avoided conflict, you may still find yourself putting other people's needs before your own. Not because those beliefs are true, no, my friend, but because for a long time, they were the only perspective you knew. And the beautiful thing is, our past can help explain why we respond the way we do. But it doesn't have to decide how we respond for the rest of our lives. And listen, guys, I don't say that because I read it in a book. No, I say it because I've lived it. And I'm sure you probably have lived it as well. Because when I look back at my own life, I can clearly see moments where fear could have written the rest of my story. There was a time I convinced myself I was too late to start a new business. And the idea of starting a podcast in my late 50s, in a language that is not even my first, with my Colombian accent, was terrifying. It took me an entire year to finally press record. Not because I wasn't sure this is exactly what I wanted to do, no, but because fear kept giving me reasons to wait. To wait until I felt more confident, more prepared, more qualified. But here's what I've learned, my friend. Fear never completely disappeared. The difference was that little by little, I stopped letting it make my decisions. And it didn't happen overnight. Of course it didn't. I didn't suddenly become fearless. No. But every small step I took gave me a little more confidence to take the next one. And when I look back now, I don't just see the moments that made me doubt myself. No, I see the lessons they were quietly teaching me. Lessons that eventually led me here, having conversations like this with you. Not because fear disappeared, no, my friend, but because I stopped letting it decide what was possible for my life. But here's something else I've learned. Life doesn't challenge all of us in the same way. No. Sometimes the fears we face are uncomfortable, but sometimes they're almost impossible to face. A couple of years ago, I met someone very special who had recently moved in next door with her family, and we became very good, very close friends. And recently, she shared a deeply personal story with me. It's a story of strength, of faith, of hope, and of a mother's unconditional love. Because I think it's one of the most powerful examples of what we have been talking about today. When her daughter was just 4 years old, she heard the words no parent ever wants to hear. Your daughter has cancer. And the doctors told her that the chances of survival were less than 1%. Can you even imagine hearing those words? It's a parent's worst nightmare, right? She spent the next year by her daughter's side in the hospital, day and night, every day, through treatments, through setbacks, through moments of hope. And she even told me that there were times when the doctors and psychologists came into the room to prepare her for the worst, to help her begin preparing for the outcome no parent ever wants to imagine. But she made a decision. She wasn't going to let those words become the only story her mind focused on. She chose to stay with what was true in that moment, to stay in the present. Her daughter was still there, still breathing, still fighting. And that's where she placed her attention. One day at a time, one treatment at a time, one breath at a time. She never denied the reality of what they were facing. No. But she simply refused to let fear become stronger than hope. Fast forward 1 year, the doctor walked into her daughter's hospital room with the news she had been praying for. Her little girl was cancer-free. Today, she's 16 years old, beautiful, healthy, strong, animal lover, and she dreams of becoming a veterinarian. Every time I see her outside walking her 2 cute dogs, I smile. Not because it guarantees that every story will end the same way. Life doesn't make those promises. But because it reminds me that some of the strongest people you will ever meet aren't the ones who had the easiest life, my friend. They are the ones who kept choosing hope when fear had every reason to be louder. Stories like her remind us that there are seasons in life when fear isn't weakness, it's human. There are moments that overwhelm us, moments that are simply too hard to process, moments when we don't know how we are going to make it through the next hour or the next day. And yet, whether we're facing something unimaginable, like my friend did, or simply standing in front of a decision that could change the direction of our lives, the question eventually becomes the same. Who gets to decide what happens next? Our fear or us? I wish I could tell you that one day fear simply disappears, or that I can promise that everything is going to be okay. But the truth is, fear never really disappears. And we don't know. Life happens. And maybe that's okay. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, my friend. It's deciding that fear doesn't get to make your decisions anymore. That's what my friend did. She made a choice every single day. And that's something every one of us can practice. Every single day, we have a choice. We can choose fear or we can choose possibility. We can rehearse everything that could go wrong, or we can allow ourselves to imagine that maybe, just maybe, everything could go right. That doesn't mean we ignore reality. It means we stop believing that fear is the only voice telling us the truth. Because fear has a sneaky way of convincing us that the closed door is the end of the story. A possibility mindset reminds us to keep looking. Maybe a new path is beginning to emerge. Maybe there is another door. Maybe there is a window. Maybe there is a way forward we can't see yet because we are so focused on the struggle in front of us. The circumstances may not change overnight, but new possibilities can arise. And sometimes, my friend, that's all we need to take one more step forward. So as we come to the end of our conversation today, I want to leave you with the same question we started with. Why does fear make some people stop while others keep moving anyway? After everything we have talked about today, I don't think it's because they're fearless. No, it's because little by little, they have learned that fear doesn't always have to have the final word. They keep looking for hope. They stay open to new possibilities. And they keep moving forward, even when they can't see the whole path ahead. And maybe that's the invitation for all of us today. Not to wait until fear disappears, no, but to stop letting it decide how we are going to live our lives. Because life will continue to surprise us, my friend. Some chapters will be incredibly beautiful. Others will test us in ways we never imagined. But no matter what chapter we are living today, I hope you remember this. Fear may always have a voice. Just don't let it be the loudest one. Because sometimes the most extraordinary chapters of our lives begin the moment we find the courage to keep moving forward, even while fear is still walking beside us. So let's not waste this one beautiful life we have been given. And listen, guys, if you know someone who needed this conversation today, or someone whose fear may be keeping them from seeing new possibilities, I hope you will share this episode with them. Because sometimes one conversation, one story, or one new perspective can change the direction of a life. And remember, your mindset isn't just what you think. It's where your power begins. I'll talk to you next week, my friend. I love you guys.